Many times people ask us, is the Fairytale Forest worth the visit and worth the time? Well, definitely. We show you all 31 fairy tales in the forest. Hi, my name is Joost from Dutch Theme Park Network. Let's dive in. Near every fairy tale you find a fairy tale book with the short version of the fairy tale in 4 languages: Dutch, English, German and French. But there's one fairy tale with a 5th language. The first fairy tale is one of the 10 that was here since opening day: Sleeping Beauty. If you don't walk over the castle, you can pass by the castle over this path. And here you have a great look at this new addition to the fairy tales. This guard is only here since the summer of 2024. The second part is the Gnome Village. Not an actual fairy tale, but gnomes are very important characters in the stories of Grimm. Here you can visit several toadstool houses and meet up with the gnomes that live there. Normally you learn your children to don't touch anything in the theme park, but that's different in the Fairytale Forest. Please encourage them to push on door handles like these, because then a gnome is coming out to check if there is someone visiting him. Next up, one of the icons of the park, Longneck, or in Dutch, Langnek. Did you know this fairy tale isn't called Longneck? It's called the 6 Servants, and you can see all 6 servants under the roofing of the food outlet Kogelo, right across the street of Longneck. Don't forget to eat the stroopwafel here. It's a delicious Dutch treat. Next to Kogelo we find Hollebolle Gijs. He is not one of the 6 servants, but he is actually the most famous trash bin in the world. There are several in the park, and 2 of them in the Fairytale Forest. Next up, Red Riding Hood. The version we see in the park today isn't the one that was here in the old days. Red Riding Hood was one of the first 10 fairy tales in the forest. The statue on top of this sign is a copy of the original version of Red Riding Hood as she was seen in the park, together with Wolf. Pinocchio, next up. And this is a fairy tale with the 5th language. Because Pinocchio is original an Italian story, it also is told in Italian. Use the fishing rod to tickle the nose of the monster fish, and you might see Pinocchio peeking out. Everywhere in the Fairytale Forest you see these road signs telling you what the next fairy tale will be. In this case, the red shoes. The next fairy tale is The Red Dancing Shoes, a story by Hans Christian Andersen. But this isn't the Bridal original version. They don't chop off her feet here, only chop off the shoes. Wait till the end of the story, because then the shoes will start dancing. Next we'll meet the Troll King. He predicts your future. And what he's telling exactly, we don't know. But you can hear him laugh or saying aye, aye, aye. So we're sure you will understand what he tries to tell you. And we say when you stand in front of him while he predicts your future, you might even feel his magic. The next fairy tale is The Naughty Princess. Just like the Troll King, this fairy tale is an original Efteling fairy tale. This parrot repeats everything you say when the eye is red. In this tower lives Rapunzel, but not only Rapunzel. A real-life pigeon made his nest in the back of the tower. Do you like these kind of details? We made an over 1 hour long video packed with these kind of details for our patrons. It's included in the Red Riding Hood tier and up. Head over to patreon.com/Dutch Theme Park Network and select the tier that suits you. The Little Mermaid. She's just a static statue. But did you know that this isn't the first fairy tale that was in this place? In the old days, this was the Love Well. And after that, it was the Dancing Dolphin. You can still see hints to the previous fairy tales on the back wall of this fairy tale. Just like the Gnome Village, Dragon is just a depiction of a famous fairy tale character. You can try to steal his crown and he tries to scare you off. The next fairy tale is The Wolf and the Seven Goats, and it starts with Mother Goat going out for grocery shopping. You can't only see and hear the next fairy tale, but also smell the next fairy tale. Hansel and Gretel has a great scent hanging around the fairy tale. And here the Efteling has the newest fairy tale in the works. Princess and the Pea will open in spring 2025 and is connected to the Grand Hotel. And even the visitors of Grand Hotel will have their own entrance to the Fairytale Forest. Since 1952, this well is in the Efteling and you can hear the story of Mother Hall. But you can also meet her since 2006 in the house right further on the road. Here you can meet Mother Hall, and this is an interactive element. Call for Mother Hall near this bucket and she will come out and make it snow. This fellow was the mascot of the Efteling for a long time. This is Gnome Kleine Boodschap, what means something like doing a number one. And maybe that's the reason why he is close to the restrooms. The next fairy tale is one in two parts. Table be laid, donkey lift your tail. And we started this in Herberg de Efteling. And Efteling may sound familiar. It was the name of the neighborhood here. But many people said Efteling. And we think this is why Efteling is called Efteling. It doesn't mean something, but it refers to the old name of the neighborhood. Inside the inn, you will meet this evil club, and he hits everybody who has something bad in his mind. In the second part of the inn, we see this scene, where you can see the table be laid. The second part of the story is outside on the square. Here you find Donkey Lift Your Tail. For only 50 cents, he will lift his tail. You can pay with a coin or contactless with your bank card. Did you know there are 10 different coins to collect? The next fairy tale is Snow White, and we start at the mirror of the evil queen. This part of the fairy tale forest might be a little bit scary, and that it's scary you can see at the ceiling. There are cracks in the ceiling, and also the heads in the corners are all scared. Inside the cave we can see Snow White in her glass coffin. The next fairy tale is the fairy tale of the 6 swans, the only ride in the fairy tale forest. Not only can you see the fairy tale of the 6 swans while sitting in a swan, you can also enter the castle. You can see the scene here as well, and the story is told to you, of course in Dutch, by the famous Dutch actress Wieteke van Dort. The next fairy tale, Cinderella, even starts before we leave the area of the 6 swans. At this gravestone, this is the grave of the mother of Cinderella. Here at the Herauten Square, you have the most hidden fairy tale of them all. Did you know that these pigeons actually are a fairy tale? Those are the bridal clothes of Nova. You can buy special food for the pigeons at the Kleine Klaroen at the square. And on this bag you can read the story of the fairy tale in Dutch. Whenever you don't want to take the bag home with you, it's of course also good food for Opa Gijs, the second hollebolle Gijs you can find in the fairy tale forest. And he is very pleased with all his additional food. Right in front of the Kleine Klaroen we find the frog fountain. This is the fairy tale of the Frog Prince. You can hear it at the end of Efteling Symfonica. There you hear Peter Reiner say, "Wat een prachtige klok! What a magnificent clock!" He is talking about this clock at the Herauten Square. It is the magical clock. Don't rush by too fast, because every 50 minutes this magical clock will come to life. This sign tells you that for the 15th birthday of the Efteling, they created a special fairy tale, the Indian Water Lilies. It's an animatronic show that comes to life every 5 minutes. Between the Indian Water Lilies and Tam Tam, you will find the Fairy Tale Forest Theatre. Here are shows about the fairy tale characters that live in the forest. all shows are in Dutch, so if you don't speak Dutch, you might want to skip this. But when you do speak Dutch, these are fun stories. As we came out of the Indian water lilies, we hear a loud snoring, and that's the snoring of the giant of Tam Tam. When you yell for Tam Tam in this hollow tree, he will come out and try to pick the boots of the giant.
Hoopla! Niemand weet.
Nobody knows that Rumpelstiltskin is my name. Maybe not the smartest to say when you don't want anybody to know your name. The next fairy tale is Rumpelstiltskin. The next fairy tale is the saddest of them all, the little matchstick girl. When these candles are lit, don't walk in because the show is going. Wait till they go out and then walk on into the next show. When you visit the main show of the little matchstick girl, not only look and listen to the story, but also use your nose. They use scents to enhance the story. You can smell the fire, you can smell the goose, and even the Christmas tree. And then we'll meet Keso. Actually, I already told him. I'm also glad to see you again. It's so good to hear. You're welcome. Okay, that was a very special moment. Keso thanked me for being so special. I visit him so often. Knies the Kniezoor is a talking tree, and when you have your Efteling app set right in the right mode, he can also say your name. He knows 2,400 names in Dutch, English, German and French. It isn't a fairy tale, but a special meetup with Keso, it's a magical moment. After meeting Keso, we see the famous story about the emperor's new clothes. While designing the fairy tale tree, the designers of the park tied cameras to their knees to make sure that it was revealed in the most impressive way possible to a child. The next up, fairy tale tree, Sprookjesboom. Actually, he is maybe a strange guy in the fairy tale forest. Yes, it's a speaking tree, but he isn't telling a fairy tale. He is telling what the fairy tale characters do after the park is closed. Characters from different fairy tales meet up and have their own adventures. The stories of Fairy Tale Tree are in Dutch, so you might not understand them, but you can have interaction with him by talking in the root that is in front of the tree. Do you want to hear a story of him and make sure to understand it? We have a subtitled version of one of the stories at our channel. We make sure to put the link down in the description. One of the last fairy tales in the forest is the gardener and the fakir. He helps the gardener to grow the tulips. The last fairy tale is the Chinese nightingale. Before you enter the castle of the Chinese nightingale, you must know that this one can be scary for little children. So, if your child is a little bit scared of dark and the theme of death, you might want to skip this fairy tale. And at the end of the fairytale forest there is a nice garden. Take a moment to walk through this garden because you will see a statue of the brothers Grimm and this memorial for the 3 founding fathers of Efteling, Anton Pieck, Peter Reinders and Van der Heijden, the mayor of Kaatsheuvel. The final statue in the fairytale forest is Kindervreugd. This is a statue given to the Efteling for their 10th birthday by all the employees together. That concludes our tour through the fairytale forest, and of course every end must end in the gift shop, as so does the fairytale forest. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to know more about the fairytale forest, you might want to become a patron of our channel, because especially for our patrons we made a video with all hidden details in the fairytale forest. It's included in the Red Riding Hood tier and up. Head over to patreon.com/Dutch Theme Park Network and select the tier that suits you best. Don't forget to give a thumbs up to this video to make sure to spread it to a broader audience. And don't you want to miss any upcoming video? Make sure to subscribe to our channel. We hope you enjoyed our tour through the fairytale forest and we hope to see you in our next video. See ya!